Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Land News Brief. Today is January 11th. Let's look at what kind of news we want to talk about today. Of course, we're going to review mortgage rate. And the first news is New Jersey to open statewide Section 8 housing voucher. Okay, that's good news for low income and some difficult families. And the next is NYC vacant offices converted to apartment. That's also good news because there's a lot of office vacancies in Manhattan. The next news is shared apartment companies merge. Let's talk about what is shared apartment. And the next news is job gains wages show cooling signs, which is somewhat a good sign. And bonds start yearly with a rally. Bonds, we're talking about 10-year Treasury yield, which is somewhat good news. And I think it's a good news for the people who are involved with trade between US and Korea. 1,200 won per dollar maintained this year, possibly. And Samsung expects 69% drop in profit. That's not so good news, but we'll take a look at it. Okay, first of all, this week's mortgage interest rate, 30-year, first of all, basically all different programs, the interest rate went down, all green. That looks good. So 30-year fixed rate, down to 6.249, and 15-year 5.375. And FHA is 5.75. We keep saying the FHA these days, they provide pretty good rate because it's cheaper than, lower than 30-year fixed rate. So why not FHA? The 10-year Treasury yield, we'll talk about one of the news. Now is 3.569. So it's okay. It's doing okay. 5-year and 7-year. 이번 주에는 전체적으로 전부 블루 컬러가 돼서, 그린 컬러가 돼서 이자율이 지금 낮은 행렬을 하고 있다. 그렇게 지금 돼 있고요. Okay, first news is New Jersey to open statewide Section 8 housing voucher. Some people they don't know exactly. Sometimes they pronounce Section A. A is an alphabet. A is wrong. Section 8 housing voucher is the formal name of this program. And they opened the website, so you can apply the Section 8 housing voucher program. It is federally funded program, but executed by local housing authority that allows low-income families to spend roughly a third of their paychecks on housing expenses. Okay, so their income is, let's say, per month, $1,000. Okay, then they can use only $300 for housing, but $300 you cannot get any one bedroom. So rest of the money, the balance, okay, the government stepped in subsidizing. So that's kind of a basic mechanism of Section 8 housing voucher program. So they can go into this website from January 17th to February 3rd, 9 to 5 p.m. So some 20,000 families will be selected, random lottery by DCA. Okay, so maybe if someone needs this program, you can let them know. 그 뉴저지에서 한 2만 패밀리 정도한테 지금 이제 복권 당첨되는 것처럼 로터리를 돌려서 그 섹션 8 바우처 프로그램을 준다. 물론 이제 퀄리파이는 돼야 되죠. 당연히 이 웨이팅 리스트에 집어넣으려면. 그래서 웹사이트가 지금 열려 있다. 그래서 웹사이트는 지금 여기 밑에 waitlistcheck.com NJ559에 들어가면 웨이팅 리스트에 집어넣을 수가 있다. 그래서 혹시 필요한 분들 있으면 얘기를 해 주시라 하는 얘기고요. 1월 17일부터 2월 3일까지. Okay, the next news is NYC vacant offices converted to apartment. Well, we've been heard, but New York Mayor Adam Smith announced the plan of Office Adaptive Reuse Task Force. They recommended 11 recommendations that might result in adding 20,000 units to leave 40,000 residents. Well, currently, the NYC allows conversion to residential for the office building in FIDI area. FIDI, this is the word that I recently picked up in the our Manhattan office. Someone used this FIDI. The young people, they use FIDI. So I didn't know, but it's Financial District, that's FIDI, DIFI area. So especially FIDI area and the building built before 1961, they allowed conversion to residential. And that's what's the current the law. And then the plan will be expand to buildings built before 1991. Now they want to expand more buildings, resulting in securing additional 120 million square feet of residential spaces. Okay, if it happens, then it can be more condo, either condo pre-sale or apartment leasing. Adam Smith announced earlier in December last year a Get Stuff Built campaign and said New York will provide 500,000 residence units in 10 years. I think every mayor, they announce this kind of plan when they become a mayor. But reality, I don't know. 그 뉴욕시에 지금 특히 다운타운 에리어는 지금 조닝상 올라가고 있다는데 1961년 이전에 지은 오피스 빌딩이 지금 있다 그러면은 파이다이 에리어에 파이낸셜 디스트릭트 에리어에 그러면 컨버전을 허가하는 지금 조닝 로가 돼 있다. 근데 지금 이 새로운 계획으로 이 태스크 포스 팀을 만들어 가지고 그 빌딩 자체가 1991년 전에 지은 빌딩까지 확장을 해서 결국은 계획대로 잘 하면 120 million 스퀘어 피트의 레지던셜 스페이스를 더 추가할 수 있겠다. 지금 뉴욕은 굉장히 모자라죠, 레지던셜이. 근데 대부분이 이제 시에서 하는 거는 이제 아파트죠, 아파트. 그러니까 렌털 컴플렉스가 되는 거죠. 그래서 더 많은 사람들이 이제 무브인 할 수 있도록. Okay, next news is shared apart companies merge. Well, I didn't know that this much shared apartment. Well, co-living means they share, like in our concept, is roommate, basically. They share living room and they share kitchen. Okay. And in the unit, maybe 3 or 4 people live together. But that's co-living, a shared apartment. And the two companies merged. The New York-based Common company called the Common manages more than 4,000 apartments in the U.S. They merged with the Berlin-based Habit Habit operates around 7,000 apartments in Europe and Asia. So they merged together. I think later on in our company announcement, we want to share a little bit about this shared house in cluster, which I didn't know at all. That shared house is different from room and board, but it's a really shared house. They share living room, they share kitchen. It's legally, they can have a tenant each room. Okay. And so at co-living buildings, tenants usually lease rooms in larger apartments shared with other tenants. So renters have access to living rooms, kitchens, and other common spaces, and amenities like cleaning services and dog walking. 이런 리빙, 쉐어드 아파트먼트 회사가 독일 회사하고 미국 회사가 합병을 했다. 미국 회사는 한 4,000개 유닛을 관리하고 독일 회사는 한 7,000개 유닛을 운영하는데 합병을 해서 지금 한 회사가 됐고 본부는 이제 독일에 있게 됐고요. 실질적으로 이런 게 리갈리 있느냐? 근데 진짜 있어요. 우리 클러스터에 지금 케이스가 하나 있는데 나중에 한번 우리 컴퍼니 뉴스에서 소개를 해드릴 거고요. The next news is job gains, wages show cooling signs. It looks good. U.S. labor market is losing its momentum. It's good because labor market was too hot, right? As hiring and wage growth cooled in December, showing the effects of a slower economic growth and the Fed's interest rate increases. Finally, we see some signs, labor market's cooling down. It's kind of a slow down pace, which is good. The smallest gain in 2 years. At average hourly earnings were up 4.6% in December. From the previous year, the narrowest increase since mid-2021. Okay, and down from March peak 5.6%. So average hourly earning, wages also cooling down. Okay, that's what the Federal Reserve really wanted. 그 노동시장이 임금과 같이 물려서 안정세로 지금 돌아오고 있어서 좀 encouraging하는 뉴스다. 디셈버에 22만 3천 개 잡이 애드됐는데 그것이 지금 페이스로 봐서 smallest gain이다. 그리고 그 웨이지 올라가는 것도 디셈버에 4.6%를 보였다. 1년 전 대비예요. 그게 마치 때는 1년 전 대비 임금 상승률이 5.6%였다. 그래서 그것도 좀 쿨링 다운 된다. 그래서 그래프를 좀 보시면 역시 월스트리트저널의 강점, 아주 스마트한 그 그래프를 만들어내는데 really appreciate 하고 있어요. 자, 이것이 지금 2022년도부터 시작을 했고 이때는 January에는 job addition이 50만 4천 개를 더 추가했어요. 그 다음에 70만 개, 그 다음 달은 39만 개, 36만, 38만, 29만. 그 다음에는 또 줄라이에는 53만 7천 개가 애드됐어요. job이. 그 다음부터는 이제 29만으로 떨어지기 시작해서 디셈버에 가서는 22만 3천까지 내려갔다. 그러니까 어디션 된 job이 그만큼 적다는 얘기죠. 그래서 지금 job 마켓이 쿨링 다운 되는 거 아니냐 이렇게 지금 보고 있죠. 하이텍 컴퍼니, 빅 컴퍼니들이 레이오프를 지금 열심히 하고는 있는데 그 숫자는 여기 보세요. 지금 22만 3천 개의 job이 애드되는 반면 그 큰 컴퍼니들이 뭐 웬만한 큰 컴퍼니들이 레이오프 해봐야 10,000명? 그렇죠? 그러니까 그렇게 큰 어떤 그 영향은 주지 못하는데 또 이런 상황이기 때문에 그 사람들 레이오프 당해도 바로바로 잡을 수가 있죠. Okay, and so this is the wages versus CPI. Okay, this dot line shows consumer price index. Okay, so the inflation rate we can imagine following this, and this line is the wages. So December 4.6% increase compared to a year ago. And of course, this time is year 2021, only year 2021. The wages was way down and then climb up. Okay, and the unemployment rate is, again, this is the Corona time, the recession, and unemployment rate hit about 15%. But right now, unemployment rate drops to 3.5%, which is near to perfect job market. 완전 고용. 오케이, 지금 그런 상태다. 그래서 여러 가지 안정되는 단계로 지금 넘어가서 상당히 좀 encouraging이 되는 그런 상황이다. Okay, next news is bonds start year with a rally. Well, I think we can take a look at the graph again. That's much easier. So this is 10-year U.S. Treasury yield. Okay. And see this year, the later part of 2022. Okay, later part of 2022. If we say later part of 2022, what do you imagine? Oh, tough real estate market because mortgage interest rate was high. Well, as we can see, mortgage interest rate is following pretty much, I wouldn't say synchronized with 10-year T-bill yield, but if you look at that, yes, this time is a trouble time for real estate professionals. And then this 10-year Treasury yield coming down, but it came again, but only 2023, okay, January time, it's kind of a good start coming down. Okay. So if this 10-year Treasury T-bill yield coming down, also we can imagine the mortgage interest rate also coming down. So what they're saying is, okay, we started pretty good. And in December, the Fed's median forecast pointed to a 5.1% rate at the end of this year. This means federal fund rate. Right now, federal fund rate is 4.25 to 4.5, this range. Still, we have chance to be increased, okay, this year. But next year, year 2024, it's going to come down to 4.1% range. So possibly next year, year later, probably coming back to low 4% range. And unlike most of Fed officers, so Fed officials and investors, they might have a little bit different opinion, but many investors believe economy will slip into recession over the next 12 months. So investors kind of negative. That putting pressure on the central bank to start cutting rates. Okay. But many officials suggest that they don't envision any rate cuts this year. That's what we are looking into. 연초에 미국 10-year T-bill 오케이. yield는 괜찮게 시작을 했다. 2023년 초에 좀 커밍 다운 했죠. 그래서 괜찮게 시작을 했다. 그리고 지금 페더럴 기준금리는 약 5% 선 정도 이 올해는 그때까지 올릴 거다. 그러니까 한 번 더 0.75를 한 번 더 올리면 5%가 되죠. 그러나 그걸 나눠서 0.5를 두 번에 나눠서 해도 5%가 되고 그런 상황이 될 것이다. 그러나 next year에는 좀 줄일 거다. coming down to 4%로 2024년에는 그렇게 지금 보고 있는데 이제 페더 오피셜들하고 조금 인베스터들하고 조금 의견이 다르다. 인베스터들은 조금 네거티브하게 보기 때문에 이자를 컷해라 쪽으로 지금 프레셔를 주고 있고, 그러나 페더 오피셜들은 올해는 내릴 생각이 없다. 이렇게 지금 나가고 있다. Next news is, this is also kind of good news. Those people who trade between Korea and US, well, again, depending on which side you are in, it's different. But Hana Security, 하나증권 in Korea forecasted $1 exchange rate will be recorded at 1,255 won per US dollar. And some reasons, decline of global trade and semiconductor exports will keep the exchange rate around 1,200 won throughout this year, with a continuous worry about the credit crunch. And the US dollar is weakened compared to some last year period. At the time, we were worried about, wow, this exchange rate will hit 1,500 won. Okay, but now dollar is weakened since the Fed has shown the slow pace of federal fund rate increases, not like before. Okay. 지금 하나증권에서 올해는 1,255원까지 내려갈 거다. 달러당 그렇게 예상을 했고요. 그래서 somewhat 그저 1,200원 정도 레인지에 머무를 것 같다. 그런 예상을 지금 했는데 달러가 조금은 약해졌어요. 왜냐하면 페드가 연방준비위원회가 그 기준금리를 올리는 페이스를 조금 줄였다 이거죠. 전과 같이 막 그 급속하게 올리는 그런 페이스를 조금 줄였다. 그런 상태에 있고요. The last one is Samsung expects a 69% drop in profit. That's not so good news, but Samsung Electronics said it expects its fourth quarter profit to plunge as the firm's mainstay memory chip and the smartphone businesses face a sharp pullback in demand, low demand, showing the extent of global tech downturn after pandemic highs. Not only Samsung, but all other high-tech big companies. And so they said 69% drop. It's 4.3 trillion won, and it's equivalent to $3.4 billion. And Samsung said its fourth quarter profit has fallen due to larger than expected order pullbacks, slow orders, and price drops in the memory business, combined with falling sales of smartphones and home appliances. 삼성이 지금 4분기가 이익이 뭐 69%나 줄어들게 됐다고 그렇게 지금 발표를 했는데, generally 하이텍들이 지금 어렵고, 그다음에 메모리 칩이 값이 싸지고, 그다음에 디맨드가 줄어들고, 지금 컴퓨터도 훨씬 덜 만들고 있죠. 팬데믹 때문에 무지하게 많이 필요했는데 이제 덜 만들어지고 있고, 이건 제너럴한 지금 이슈다. 그리고 스마트폰도 오다가 줄었고, 홈 어플라이언스도 오다가 줄었다. 그런 상태에서 지금 삼성이 또 다른 어떤 고민을 또 하겠죠. 어떤 쪽으로 나가야 될지. Okay, so that's it. This week's news brief. I hope you enjoyed it and somewhat you can relate it to your own business or your thought to help your next move. Okay, so see you all next week.